Hey guys, good evening. Hi Alicia. You always have to type in my channel. It says, well, I'm sorry about that, but yeah, unless I notify you guys I won't be on, I should be here. Hey Kiri, good evening to you. Alliums are the onion family. Onions, garlic, leeks, those kind of things. So, you're cold now, Kiri? Well, it's snowing here. So I don't know if you're that cold. Yes, you're right, Kiri. Onion family. 70, went to bed. It was 36. Woo! Just for you. Get you situated here. So, yes, I have thermal shirt and sweatshirt with the heat going. So you know that the weather has changed. Yes, it is snowing right now, October 30th. I mean, we've had a little bit of a dusting before, but this has been coming down now for about an hour, maybe 45 minutes, something like that. And it is leaving the ground white. We've had a lot of temps. The highs have been in the 20s and 30s, so in the lows down into the teens. So the ground is starting to freeze. In fact, there's it is starting to freeze at least a couple inches, because I've had things that I've tried to stick back in the ground or tried to move some dirt or something, and it's frozen solid. So anyway, Mother Earth Club, hello. Not snowing there yet. Okay, well that's good. I haven't even looked at a radar, so I don't know where it is or how big it is. Hey Karen, good evening to you. Yes, you caught us. The ice on your bird bath never thawed today. Oh, yeah. Tomorrow, highs in the 20s. It's supposed to be cold, and then we're to get up into the 30s and 40s for the rest of the week. So we'll see how that goes. Saturday, you wore shorts with the AC on. I wear thermals. I know. It's the way it goes. I've had days where, as the seasons change, that I'm running the air conditioning throughout the day and then the heat at night. The same day. And then it's like pull the AC unit out. You know, it's it can get crazy like that. Hey Howie, good evening to you. You're supposed to get a bit of snow today and Wednesday, first of the fall. Okay. Um, it wasn't even in the forecast for here. But we've got it. It's coming down. Yeah, it's starting to make everything white. It's getting a coating on everything. So certainly not enough to cover like all the grass and leaves and stuff like that, but it's definitely there. Texas doesn't want rain. I know, but you somehow get them all the time anyway. Hey Dave, good evening to you. Um, the mid 40s. Wow. Yeah, yeah. I hear you. Worked on your greenhouse outside yesterday. Oh, nice. Nice, nice. How fun for you. We just finished, oh, and I forgot my sample here. We just finished all the repairs on my house that I've been trying to get done for 6 months. And like last night at 11:30 is when the contractors left. So anyway, it's I was hoping to show you guys, but not with it snowing out there right now. I'm not going to take you out, but I'm pretty happy with the way things turned out. I might have a picture of the front of the house. Let me see. Okay, so um, like I said, we put in a whole new sidewalk, And then my front steps, I've always had a dormer over, well, not always, but I put a dormer over the front years ago. And then my front and back steps have been poured concrete from the beginning of time. And they just deteriorate and, over the years and everything. And even though I've painted them, it's just been a pain. So what they did is they took composite boards and built some decking over the steps, and then so the front has railings in it too. So if my notices will stop popping up. Um, so anyway, so if you can see it, there's the front of my house. So you can see the new sidewalk, and I've got railings now and the step on the front. So that's all brand new. Um, see if I can zoom in a little bit for you there. So you can see what they put over the front steps there. And so I've got that all done. Oh, so yeah, it's been huge. I was actually displaced or homeless for the 3 days because they were working on my bathroom floor, replacing that, and became a bigger issue than what they expected. I knew it was gonna be a big problem, but anyway, so it was supposed to be 1 day and it ended up being 3 days. So I spent 1 night at some friends and then another night in a hotel. And then last night, like I said, they left just before midnight. So, it was, like, crazy. It's been crazy, crazy. Um, what are you guys saying here? Saturday? Oh, Dave, you're expecting your first frost tomorrow? Ooh, yeah, we've been having them for a while. Um, although later than normal, but we still have been cold for a good while. But yes, snowing out there. Saturday, you picked a basket full of peppers, 2 zucchini. Oh, that would be so nice. You've been turning your lawn into a food garden in your village, so you're on a 15-minute break. Oh, that's so cool, Howie. Oh, man. You are, dedicated. I appreciate that live under your leaves. And be careful of those creatures, um, inside the greenhouse yet. Oh, I know. Hey, Joy, how are you? Oh, thank you, guys. Thank you, thank you. Hi, Sheila. Welcome. It's a very windy days. Oh, yeah. Turmeric you planted in June finally started growing 1 leaf so far. Cool. When no food on the shelf, everyone produced. Yep, yep, absolutely. So, that's why I was like, what am I gonna do? What am I gonna talk about? It's like after 4.5 years, it's like covered about everything I can on the lives. But so then I started thinking about like what books do I have here that I haven't really covered. So the Seed to Seed book is what we're going to start going through. You can see I have things marked already. I have been I've been highlighting. I've been going through here. So to get ready for you guys, but we'll talk another 5 minutes before I get started into that. Same with ginger. Yeah, yeah, those are not our zones, that's for sure. Howie, sounds like it's one of your favorite books here. So this is an excellent book. You can get it I think you can still get it on Amazon. Um, but it's definitely worth it because it tells you all the processes and how to save seed. All the different way, and because every plant needs a different way to save seed. You can't just take it off and just dry it and that's it. Some of them need to be fermented, like tomato seeds and different things like that. So Hey, Patty, how are you doing? Yeah, so I figured, well, I mean, I know beans are probably the most common ones that people would start with saving, but those are kind of at the end of the book. So I figured I'd just start at the beginning and we'll just kind of go through. I don't know that we'll hit it every week, but it's figured it's to be a good one for the winter to start going through, and we can just keep on rolling with it and figure out because it's like, okay, saving seed. It should be really easy. Sometimes it's really complicated. Sometimes it's one of those anomalies out there that you're just like, I don't know what to do. I don't want to start. I don't want to screw it up. I don't want to, but it's, so hopefully this will give a little bit of information, make it seem a little easier and everything. I know Wendy at Hardneck Farm, she saves seed all the time, and um, she'll she'll have plants galore that have little bags on them, and they're like little kind of nylon mesh bags. They're not really mesh, but they're nylon that breathes kind of, and with little ties, like a little bag with a tie on it, a drawstring. And so she'll wrap those around the seed heads and tie them off so that once the seeds start falling, they fall right into the bag and they're not like all over the ground, or, like you go out and there was a good wind and it's like, oh, I missed them, that type of thing. So that's a great way to do it. If there are different ways of collecting the seeds, but if you watch any of her videos, um, she'll bag some like that. So it's just kind of cool. Um, I love seeds so much that my freezer is half full. Oh, Howie, you are set. You could you could produce enough for half of Vancouver there, couldn't you? We went from drought in 85 to 6 inches of rain, wind, hard freeze. The peak colors are mostly on the ground now. What a difference a week. Yes, it has been crazy. Yeah, it's getting pretty white out there. I can't tell if it's still snowing. Yep, still snowing out there. Um, you asked in a Texas homesteading group if anyone has success with turmeric outside in winter. You're told it comes back in late spring. Oh, cool. And Dave, you have some beans drying right now. Awesome. You're right, Howie. Seeds are life. Before this frost, picked all green tomatoes and peppers, left carrots out on plastic. I still had, because of all the construction going on, things have been so crazy. I hadn't been able to get back out in my garden. So I don't know if I'm going to get to it. I had a lot of weeding to do. I didn't get to trim back my strawberries at all. So that whole bed is just chaos. My comfrey is totally dead and everything now. But I still had green onions out there that still looked pretty good this afternoon, but I just wasn't able to get out there, and now it's snowing. So I don't know. Like I said, we're supposed to have some days that are going to be a little warmer this week. By warmer, I mean they're not below freezing. What do we have here? Wednesday 36, Thursday 35, Friday 42. So 42. So that's a possibility. But and nights are in the 20s. So we shall see. But while everybody's here, I will not be on next week. I have something else going on that I won't be able to be here for it. But I just want to let you know that I'll be back in 2 weeks. So I'll remind you again at the end. Amazon still has the book. Oh, good. I have an older version. You have the older one and still serves you well. Okay. Is this the older one then, Patty? Mine says 2002. So yeah, it's been around for a little bit. From plant to plate to person. Oh, I like that. That sounds good. Yeah, you've been doing great, Dave. You've been doing some. You try to do more each year. Love trading them with friends. Yep. Saving calendulas and yeah, cosmos. I've done a lot of flower seed saving in the past. Those are so much easier than vegetables. Vegetables require a little bit more love, but and just attention. And it seems like my falls have just been over the last 3 or 4 years have just been nuts. I haven't been able to tend to it, but like Dave is like trying to really do it in earnest. It's got to be a very intentional um, task that you're like that's just as important as harvesting and preserving. And it's like that's another step that just has to be done. And so, oh wow, Cure, you definitely get some rain. Making more soil than you would use, but so you show them how to free and boom, now your village is food scarce. That's so great. Um, yeah, Howie, that's awesome. You know, sharing your knowledge with everybody around you so that everybody can be self-sufficient, right? Oh, they have a spiral bound version too? Cool. So I do have the new one. Okay. Thank you, Joy. It definitely would be because there's so much information, and it's like if you're working on saving it, just to have it folded up and put down so you don't have it like flipping open all the time like this. That would be nice. I could also, let me see if there's enough margin. That's questionable, but possible. Paperbacks, you could always trim these and then get them spiral bound too. So that's always a possibility. I could get that done. Yes, Dave, absolutely. Okay, bye, Howie. Thanks for being here. With all your business, did I plant my garlic? No, I didn't. I didn't buy any this year. The last few years I've spent like $30, $40 on buying garlic and it never gets planted. And this was another crazy fall with all the construction and stuff. And I was just like, and I have a lot of garlic in jars that that it's going to take me 2 or 3 years to use up at least. And so if I am growing, fresh garlic, and which I know is so great and everything, but um, and I've got all that in jars. So I don't know. I felt I should use up some of that first, but I don't know. His backyard food forest is incredible. It is. It is massive. You've raked lots of leaves down and brought them home to compost. Oh, that's good. The big maple tree right across the street from me finally dropped its leaves today, and they're just all over. So if I get a good west wind, they'll all land in my yard now. So I'll get that. But you've only done about 3 years, but you really enjoy it. You lost two big trees in your front yard, so you replaced them with semi-dwarf two heritage. That's the way to do it. Yep. So I'm going to be reading from here. So I'm going to be kind of looking down this way. I hope you guys are okay with that. But I'll keep my eye on this and keep doing that. So I recommend that you get this book and just read everything. I'm just going to pick out some highlights here. Again, it's Seed to Seed by Suzanne Ashworth. And I put her name and everything in the description below. I did not put in any type of link to this though, but so just kind of start out, and I'm just going to read from the book. So I hope you guys are okay. So the seeds that gardeners hold in their hands at planting time are living links in an unbroken chain. reaching back into antiquity. Today's gardeners cannot possibly comprehend the amount of history contained in their seeds, both what has come before and what may potentially come after their brief involvement. Our Stone Age ancestors began identifying and domesticating food plants thousands of years ago with the simple act of selecting seeds for replanting. Whenever gardeners begin to save their own seeds, they also become part of this ancient tradition. So you don't even think about, I mean, we have our seed packets and everything, but you don't think even about the food in the grocery store coming from thousands of years of people saving seeds. It's like there's a complete disconnect in most people's thoughts with that. But it's like, how does that come about, right? Hey, Donna, how are you? Uh, Endless leaves, knee deep. That's crazy. You have one big sugar maple that makes a lot of maple syrup. Only have to tap it every other year. Sweet. I Yeah, I wouldn't mind having some maple trees in my yard, but anyway. So, because the United States is a nation of immigrants, today's gardeners are blessed with access to an immense cornucopia of vegetable varieties. Gardeners from every corner of the world invariably brought along cherished vegetable seeds when their families immigrated. Afraid that their treasures might be confiscated, this is fun, cool. These seeds were often smuggled into this country, hidden in the linings of suitcases, under the bands of hats, and sewn into the hems of dresses. Seeds provided a living reminder of their past and ensured continued enjoyment of foods from the old country. This unique heritage of seeds, steadily accumulating for nearly 4 centuries, was first brought over by passengers on the Mayflower and is still arriving today with immigrants from every corner of the globe. Our grandparents and their ancestors were seed savers by necessity. Their best plants were carefully selected to produce the next year's seeds. And so they knew that they had to be the best plants. Too often I think it's like, oh, I want the best plants to be able to preserve, to harvest those things and preserve, and then whatever's left over on the plants, I'll just use those for seed. But I have to change that mentality, right? I have to think, okay, I've got to have the best and the healthiest for passing on that seed. And a lot of them back then, they were traded over the back garden fence with neighbors and faithfully passed down to each new generation of gardeners. So that was kind of like a family, um, not only a tradition, but a heritage in that way of just like, oh, I got mom's seeds, or grandma's seeds are here, or they're in this garden. We're eating the fruit of what my great grandparents had planted, things like that. So it was amazing. A few of these family heirloom varieties have ever been available commercially until just recently. Many have been grown on the same farm by different generations of a family for 150 years or more. This often resulted in the seeds I love this, slowly developing resistances to local diseases and insects. So by continuing to plant that same variety over and over again, it became stronger, and that it adapted in that way to be able to survive. And I think that's so great. So it also gradually becoming well adapted to climates and soil conditions in family gardens throughout the United States. And you know what? I think that's so key when we're trading seed back and forth, um, from different areas of the country, because I've gotten seeds before from maybe somebody in the South, and they just don't grow here. They'll come up and die right away, and I can't get anything of it. So that makes so much sense, though, because it's a become a strong variety in the South, but then it gets into my northern soil and my climate with the sun and the rain and the different things like that. Um, and at that point, it doesn't survive well because it's used to having a whole different set of environment and everything. So um, untold numbers of old-time varieties are lost each year because elderly gardeners can no longer find family members willing to grow and maintain these living heirlooms. When elderly seed savers pass away, unless their seeds are replanted by other gardeners, their outstanding strains become extinct. Invaluable genetic characteristics are lost forever to future generations of gardeners and plant breeders. What do you have here? Selecting the best fruit only for use. That's so great. So smart. I know. Isn't that crazy, adapting them? It's just it's we've talked about before about the intelligent design within seeds, and how they know when to germinate and everything, and but that they can do that and get stronger. um so I think, trading seeds is awesome if it's within your kind of your community and different things, because then you have a strong variety for your climate, and I think that really makes a difference. Um, let's skip a couple pages. It talks about hybrids and passing heirlooms on to others, different things like that. So again, I recommend that if you can get this book. So I'm going to talk about pollination, and not going to get quite into the birds and the bees of everything, but obviously there's male and female parts of plants and different things. So and a lot of times they are not self-pollinating plants, especially like squashes and stuff like that. So they need to be pollinated. But I just wanted to touch on wind pollinated plants. So many grains, grasses, and trees are dependent upon the wind for pollen dispersal. Although many grasses are self-pollinated, cross-pollination often occurs as a result of the wind. Pollen picked up by the wind can travel for miles on the air currents before coming to rest. So if you think, well, I've got my seeds 15 feet apart, it's like, okay. Get a little breeze, and the seeds in the pollen well, you can't even see the pollen, it's like that's going to travel on the wind, everything. Corn is the most notable plant that relies on the wind for pollination. Spinach is another example of a plant that is primarily wind pollinated. I had no idea spinach was. Spinach pollen is very fine and can be carried long distances by the wind, easily drifting a mile or more. So, so again, that just if you want to continue to produce true varieties of whatever you have, you need to make sure that you either there's different ways of taking care of things and about being able to collect the seeds. So the vegetable varieties that gardeners enjoy today are the result of thousands of years of selection and adaptation in diverse worldwide ecological niches. Vegetable seeds have accompanied travelers and immigrants to every corner of the world. Excuse me. being traded from region to region and from continent to continent in order to satisfy man's desires for new and different produce. Serious gardeners are never content to grow and eat only one type of pepper or one type of corn, right? Instead, gardeners are constantly experimenting with different varieties, including many that are nearly impossible to grow in their climates. A tremendous heritage is available to today's garden experimenters, but protecting these countless varieties from loss and maintaining their purity is a constant challenge. So, God created seeds to grow in certain ways. Yep, certainly depends on the plant that pollen comes from. Not all pollen is light enough to travel, right? Corn is wind pollen. That's what organic farmers have trouble. It's so true. Yeah, this is all in. It's all in the seed book here. And like I said, I'm just picking out a few highlights here. There's a whole bunch more. Like the whole big description on pollination and what the honeybees do and all that kind of stuff. The flower structure, botanical classifications, which Patty is an expert in. And just anyway, we need to be good stewards of what we've got. So taking care of our seeds. So, hey, Michigan Daffodil, hello. Is there anybody new that I missed that came in? No. Okay. There are very few gardeners. Oh, yeah, it is. It is sad because at some point here, people are going to have to grow their own food and they're not going to know how. And it's like, like we saw 3 years ago, there was a run on seeds and it was hard to get seeds because so many people are like, oh, I need to grow my own food. And so we weren't prepared for that. And it's like, are we prepared to share our seeds with people so they can grow their own food, But neighbors who garden could be cross pollination. The book is technically easy to understand. Yep. You may be teaching elderly neighbors. Ooh, well, that would be good. That would be good. That's why, I've started, highlighting things and, make notes. I do really like the idea of a spiral bound version, though. I just might consider turning this into one. That would be so great. Alicia, that's fine. Squashes are interesting. They have imperfect flowers. Yep. If you look at the Latin name of V2 squash, you can see they will cross-pollinate and hybridize. Yes. And that's what these are, squash blossoms right here. So they go through like all the parts and what they do and what has to be done in order to make sure everything is done. So, okay. So pure seeds can be saved from cross-pollinated vegetable crops without resorting to caging or hand pollination. Now, caging is building a mesh cage over your plants that you are going to be using as seed, so that no insects can get in there to try to cross-pollinate. Different things like that. The other one, hand pollinating, it would be like taking a Q-tip or something, going into the flower of one and then rubbing it on the flower of another, getting that pollen passed around and stuff like that. So those are some really good things. But if you have a huge garden, that's almost impractical for trying to take care of all that in an amount of time. So anyway, varieties that must be isolated by a distance are large enough to prevent contamination from insect pollination or wind-blown pollen. And that distance variety varies from species to species and is commonly referred to as the plant's isolation distance. So that term will come up. That's why I wanted to cover that. Isolation distance is, what is that, weather? It's probably like, oh, you're going to have snow. It's like, I know, it's all white outside. It's dark now though, but so thank goodness we're being saved from that. If they have the same Latin name, they can hybridize. If not, you can grow them side by side. Yeah. See, he's been studying his stuff. I think they're food. I know. Costco or Cub Foods, right? So here is a picture of a cage right here. So they just put that cage over the plants that they want to get seeds from. Okay. So they talk about them caged. That's what it is. It prevents the insects from getting in there to cross-pollinate. So I'll just show that to you. Okay. Selecting your desirable characteristics of the plants and the different things like that. Remember I said, you're supposed to look for your best plants, all that kind of stuff. So, hey, Caitlin, how are you? It went around you? Okay, I need to look at this radar. Sorry. Oh, yeah. It's like, weather alert. Weather alert. It'll expire tomorrow morning. Oh, I gotta check out what this is here. So they're saying it's, what is it? 30 degrees. It feels like 21. Okay. Oh yeah, we have a little bit of a swirly burlies going around in Minnesota. So look at all the blue stuff is snow. The light blue, the darker blue is rain. But so South Dakota's getting it. The whole Duluth section. Eliza's getting some snow. Fargo, Grand Forks getting snow. I'm getting snow, although I'm in the middle, in between all of these systems, so they must really be getting it. Your weather app told you to avoid today's weather. Four-letter word for white rain is a swear. I know. You had tiny wet flakes. The southerner would not. You guys are funny. What do you call a cold cup of coffee? Amuka. Freeze in the fork. You're not happy. Oh yeah. That's what you drank. Oh, okay. From the weather people nowadays. I know. Exactly. It's like, weather alert. So let's see how much I'm supposed to be getting. Poor travel conditions possible. It's only because people drive stupid when there's some snow on the ground. A period of snow will move through overnight, followed by increasing northwest winds and temperatures falling below freezing. Ooh. Warn me when it gets to 30 below. So for that reason, plan on a slow Tuesday morning commute and please reduce your speed. Don't slam on your brakes. It's always if people just drive stupid. If you're going to live in Minnesota, you need to learn how to drive in Minnesota. You've got 5 to 6 months of winter, so it's like, yeah. The same drivers. I know. So, okay. Vegetable plants and their seeds are in a constantly evolving state of flux. always changing due to either environmental factors, which are drought, short seasons, disease, pests, etc., or genetic factors like mutations, genetic shifts. Seed savers must learn how to select the right plants to save for seeds so that these changes will be for the better. Seed savers must also learn to closely and attentively observe vegetable plants throughout the entire season. And this is another important part for this. So, keeping seed selection constantly in mind. Look at the whole plant, not just the fruit. Plant characteristics to consider during selection could include earliness, disease resistance, insect resistance, drought resistance, stockiness, uniformity or lack of it, and trueness to type. Fruit characteristics that can be selected for include color, shape, size, and thickness of flesh, productivity, storageability, flavor, and many others. Vigor is the seed's ability to germinate rapidly with good disease resistance. Only plants that display good vigor should be selected to save for seed. So if you have, you planted 4 cucumber seeds, 3 of them pop up within 3 or 4 days, and 1 takes 10 days. Don't try to save seed from that plant that only came up a week later than the others. Sorry. I was up till 3 in the morning cleaning up, scrubbing down walls and floors and every surface because there's so much dust in here from all the, they did some sheetrock stuff and a lot of mudding and a bunch of different things. So I'm like all stuffed up and aggravated from all of that. So, for example, if one plant within a population of them is always covered with aphids, has smaller leaves and stunted growth, or produce fewer fruits, or seed from that plant should definitely not be saved. Also, if all of the best cabbages are harvested for eating each year and only the poorly formed heads are saved for seed production, subsequent crops will eventually include poorly formed heads. And more of them with each generation of the seeds, which is really, really key and really important. So to do that. So let me see. You're cold. Southern Bliss Homestead, hello. How are you? Mac and Patty in the house. Worked all day outside, about froze. At what, 50 degrees? It's snowing here, Mac and Patty. Sheetrock is a mess. Oh, yeah. Yep. So, and even though I was away for most of that this weekend, it's still, being in the house last night with that. I'm just like, so anyway, so seed savers can also select for plant characteristics of value in their specific climate, such as bolt resistance in cool season crops. Okay, think about that, bolt resistance in our cool crops. So, for example, out of a row of 20 lettuce plants, 14 might bolt, which means that, the leaves are nicely growing and the lettuce is growing, and all of a sudden you get this stalk that shoots up and puts seeds out. That's bolting. So at that point in time, the rest of your lettuce is bitter. It's like that plant is almost kind of done for, the type of thing. So if you have 14 that are going to bolt very early in the season, while the remaining 6 plants bolt 2 weeks later, since late bolting is a very desirable characteristic in lettuce, only the 6 late bolting plants should be allowed to flower. So if you have the others, pull them, don't let them flower, or cut the bolting thing off or something, cut it right down to the to the crown of the plant, or something like that. But only let the late bolting ones flower. So the seed saved from those plants may demonstrate a greater incidence of late bolting than the original crop. If this selection for late bolting continues over a sufficient period of time, a late bolting strain of the original variety will gradually be developed. So if you continue to save your seed from, um, oops, sorry, getting stuff going here. From your one seed, and then it was great, and then you continue to save it from that plant, it's going to grow and continue to get better and better and better for you. The same thing is if you have a weak plant, that's going to get worse and worse and worse and worse. So important to choose from those. So 32 there. So yeah, she's you planted some garlic you grew because you had huge cloves. Okay. Oh, quick thing that I came across. Elephant garlic is actually not garlic. It's a leek. Because we're gonna. If I'm taking a lot of time here to do a lot of intro here, but I might not even get to them at this point because I was gonna start with leeks. But there was so much good information before getting to that I wanted to share. So okay, so population size for your seeds, how many you have that you're working with. That's an extremely important factor to be considered during seed production and should always be kept in mind during selection procedures. Maintaining the genetic diversity within a population is the key to its continued evolution and the ability of the plants to adapt to varying environmental conditions. To avoid detrimentally decreasing the genetic diversity being maintained within a population of seeds, seeds should be saved from the greatest possible number of plants that meet the selection criteria. So don't think, well, okay, I've got 100 bean plants. I'm only going to hold out 3 plants for seeds for next year. It's like, try to pick a few more than that. Maybe like 8 or 10 or something like that. So try to take as many as you possibly can to get the amount of good seeds, and choose those plants early on. I always wait until I've already canned everything I want, and then it's like whatever's left over. And sometimes there's not any plants left over. So I have the whole wrong mindset with that. I need to really change that. You have 100% noticed this. You see improvement in your crops. That is so cool, Dave. Oh, that's so great. That is exciting to hear. It can be challenging for urban gardeners, but it can still be done. It's true. Okay, so the minimum number of plants that need to be grown in order to maintain a significant representation of the genetic diversity within a given population varies widely depending on which expert on genetics is being consulted. The minuscule amount of literature that has been published regarding population sizes also varies greatly. But the basic general rule is that seed should be saved from 20 inbreeding plants or 100 outbreeding plants. I'm not sure where the inbreeding and outbreeding, I may have missed that. Always attempt to grow as many plants as possible in the space available in your garden, and that will usually yield an adequate range of genetic diversity for your particular gardening situation. So Dave, how many plants generally, and I know it depends on what you're growing, but how many do you try to preserve so that you can, I don't see anything real quick on inbreeding or outbreeding. Outbreeding would be allowing crosses and following new lines. Oh, there you go. makes sense. Okay. Thank you. I need it in simple English there. Reacquiring genetic diversity. Perhaps you've been growing a small number of plants of a particular variety and saving seed each year for quite some time. Maybe you have noticed that plants are not as vigorous or are not producing as well as in previous years. This can happen either gradually or quite quickly when seed is saved from just a few plants over a number of years. The lack of genetic diversity within a population can also become a problem if you have now or started with only a small seed sample or very old seed with low germination. So it's like, okay, I've got a pack of bean seeds that I've had for 5 or 6 years. Maybe I'll use those to just grow a patch just for seed. That's not the greatest thing to do. It's you want to have brand new ones, grow a bed of them or something, or a row or whatever, and then use those for strictly for seed saving. For your tomatoes, for example, you saved from the best fruits of each plant, unless the plant was a bit weird. So probably 6 to 8 plants per variety. Okay, those are great to know. Thank you. And so if one plant produced, say, a dozen tomatoes, you would pick 1 or 2 tomatoes of the best ones out of that particular plant. So anyway, they have other sources then you can go to help you with some friends. So record keeping. Okay. Gardeners who grow their own vegetable seeds need to keep accurate records of seed sources and plant characteristics. I don't know if you do this or not, but you can just use like 3x5 cards. You can make a spreadsheet, whatever you want to do. But they're talking about 3x5 index cards. Write all of the different plant types being kept on the dividers, and then fill out a card for each of the variety of seeds being maintained. Each card should include the following information: the type of plant, the variety name and address of the source, the date obtained, germination percentage if known, date the seeds were stored, year the seeds were last grown, accession number, and any pertinent history or cultural notes. So, okay. So, talk about alliums, which is in this family. I'm not even going to attempt it. Patty, I do not have your language of that. Even though I took Latin and I can do it, it's like I'm just not going to try it. So that is the allium family, or the ones that include leeks, onions, bunching onions, garlic, chives. So those are all in the set of zone 3. Oh, so allium flowers are perfect but are unable to self-pollinate. So what you have to do is get in there and try to help it out, basically. So you could do either caging or daily hand pollination, different things like that. So it takes a little bit of doing. Like hand pollinating needs to be done every day for at least 2 weeks and preferably for 30 days. Immature flower heads are bagged. And so I talked earlier about these little nylon bags that you can get to tie around the seed heads and everything. So the immature flower heads are bagged before any of the individual flowers open. At least 10 flower heads of each variety should be bagged. Each morning between 9 and noon, remove the bags from as many flower heads as can be kept free of insects. Use a camel hair brush to transfer pollen between the open flowers, moving from head to head and back again. Rebag the flowers and repeat the process daily. That's why I don't get that done because I'm just not here. It's like, oh, okay, Kiri. Be sure to tag the hand pollinated flower heads for identification during harvest. Um, Plants, okay, it is very important to examine all alliums that are to be saved and replanted for seed production. Plants with off-type foliage should be removed early in the growing season. Also, remove any plants that bolt or start to flower during the first season. Save only the best, most true to variety bulbs. Because remember, onions are like two-season type of things, so garden rotation is very important for alliums. It is easiest to let the seed heads mature on the stalks, but harvest should begin as soon as the heads are dry. In humid regions of the country, Mac and Patty, seed heads often are cut off and dried on tarps or pieces of plastic in an area that can be protected from the rains. Seed heads can also be dried in a food dehydrator. Did you know that? But only if the temperature can be accurately controlled. Drying temperatures higher than 95 degrees will damage the seeds. Allium seeds will easily fall out of the seed pods when the heads are dry. So, do I have 3 minutes here? So leeks. Leeks are a favorite vegetable in northern European countries. Their soft bulbs and leaves tolerate freezing temperatures and are more resistant to diseases than onions. Did you know that? Leeks are more disease resistant than onions. So wild relatives of leeks can be found as far north as Germany. Elephant garlic is a true leek. It's sometimes called as great head garlic, but it's really a leek. Most elephant garlics produce a single large bulb, but they do not flower. Okay, leeks are most commonly grown in France and England, where numerous heirlooms are documented. I know, Mother Earth. It's like, yeah, there's and onion seeds don't. You have to have fresh ones every year in order to keep them going. So, yeah, some of these things could be a little bit of work, but it's the only way that you can really truly preserve them. And that's why saving seed really has to be very, very intentional in that way. That you have to, it's like, figure that into your gardening plan, into your gardening time, as much as planting and harvesting and preserving. It's like saving seed. It's not like oh yeah, I'll just run out and get some. It's definitely much easier to just go online and order your seeds too than to do that. But um, if seeds aren't available, you want to make sure that you know how to do this. Leeks do not cross with onions or any other allium species. Leeks will, however, cross with currat. It's Kurrat, which is a wild leek that grows in Egypt and along the Mediterranean. So any of you out there who might be from here. So the leeks are biennials, but they can easily be crossed by insects. Isolation of 1 mile is recommended for seed production. Bagging with hand pollination, alternate day caging, whatever, is used to ensure pure seed crops. Leeks that are left in the ground during the winter will often produce side shoots known as leek pearls. These pearls can provide an emergency method of preserving a variety that has been damaged or cross-pollinated. That's my way of preservation. It's like, just leave them in the ground. Let them do their thing. Leek pearls are genetically identical to their parent plants and can be used as leek sets. So there you go, Mother Earth. Dixondale, they're good ones for onions, yes. So just leave your leeks in the ground. They'll make their leek pearls, and you'll have your. That sounds like a really good way to do it. Leek seeds are more tightly encased in their seed pods than onion seeds. Therefore, leeks do not shatter as readily as onions. Leek seed will retain 50% germination for 3 years when stored in cool, dry, dark conditions. They are a cool season biennial, grown to maturity during their second season. And then it's got regional growing recommendations for the areas. But anyway, that is the end of leeks. So you can see all my highlighting. I've got all of that in there. So I did some studying for you guys. It wasn't just an online thing. So anyway, if you can get a book, that would be awesome. And so we'll just pick up on the other alliums, which would be the onion and garlic and different things like that. And they go into all different things. So bunching onions or walking onions are small but sustainable. Yes. Yep. So all kinds of things to learn about this. I figured winter would be a good time to kind of go through this. And it's like, and then you could start thinking about incorporating that into your garden planning for next summer and figuring out what to do. And also ordering seed for the varieties of things that you would want to make sure that you would want to save seed for other years. So that would be that's another part of ordering your seed, is to try to figure out what you want to be sustainable for your garden. So anyway, you guys, we're all done. So thank you for being here. Looks like I have 9 of you here. So anyway, I appreciate you guys all showing up every week. And again, I will not be here next week. And so we'll be back in 2 weeks. And you guys take care. God bless. Always have hope. And just have an amazing, amazing week. And I'll probably wake up to a white wonderland out there. So, thanks, Mother Earth. Appreciate it. 'Tis the season of gratitude. It is. So, all right, you guys, just take care. Good night.